Hello, hello, hello. We're almost at the end of our journey into Led Zeppelin. For this is the eighth and final studio album, In Through the Outdoor. It came in a paper bag. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I took it out the paper bag because it's fiddly. You don't want to see that on camera. And this is the reissue from 2015 on 180 gram vinyl, like it says there. Let's see that 180 gram vinyl. Now the original, the original artwork, and I think this kind of alludes to it. There's the swash there. Came in a paper bag. There's 6 variants, and if you painted it with water, it would become colour, and that's what that alludes to there. That brush mark. But you didn't know which cover you were going to get. Again, it's a hypnosis design. But back when album packaging was interesting, and the idea of it being in a brown envelope is you didn't know what you were going to get. It was completely random, and they kind of recreated it there. And each cover was taken from a different perspective in the bar to give you a different scene. I guess it's storytelling, visual storytelling. So yeah, this is the final studio album by Led Zeppelin. It came at a time in their career when there were 2 camps, Plant and Jones, who were not battling drugs and drink, and Bonham and Page, who were. So it's got a kind of a fragmented feel to it, because Jones and Plant wrote a couple of songs. It's the only album that Bonham doesn't get a writing credit, which is interesting. And it's an odd one. It's an odd one. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. Not that I don't know. Again, it's not as one of their strongest albums, but there's something I find kind of curious about it. Again, I remember it, which I don't remember a lot of physical graffiti or presence. I remember bits of it. But this one I do remember. Starts off with "In the Evening," which was meant to be like a return to form. It's meant to be like a big album opener, and I don't think it's got a good hook to it. It's got a good riffy hook to it. But I think again, 6 minutes 48. I think it's a little bit long. I think if they'd have edited back a bit, cut it back a bit, I think it would have been a better track. And then things get interesting because it's one of the Jones and Plant songs. Southbound Suarez, where they adopt a kind of Latin South American feel to the music, and I always find Led Zeppelin most interesting when they're being playful, a little bit playful, with the music, and I quite like that. Southbound Suarez, it's quite a good one. Fall in the Rain follows that. It gets another 6 minute. Yeah, it's all right, it's okay. But by the time we get to Hot Dog, I've kind of zoned out a bit. I'm like, yeah. I know people don't like it when I say, oh yeah, it's all right, but it is. It's all right. It's an all right song, "Fall in the Rain." I'm not gonna, it's not one of my faves, but it's all right. Where it gets interesting is on the B side, the 10-minute Carouselambra, which sees the band. And again, production's quite important on this because you see the band heading towards that, moving away from their previous production and heading towards that kind of almost 1980s, because you hear synthesizers, and Carouselambra is the one where the synthesizers turn up. And it kind of reminds me of, is it Sister Disco by The Who? Because there's a synthesizer bit on this, and then there's the solo and whatnot. And it's a bit muddy. Again, in some places it sounds like it could have been a demo. It feels like it needs a little bit more spit and polish. But it kind of indicates of where Led Zeppelin might have gone if they'd have carried on, or they've got into the 80s and they'd have adopted synthesizers and more electronic things. All My Love, pretty standard, kind of love song. It's all right. It's okay. It's fairly memorable because it's got that refrain of "All My Love" running through it. Repetition, repetition. And that the album finishes off with "I'm Going to Crawl," which again, it's almost like a last gasp. It's a very repetitive track. And it's like, yeah, okay, you're going to crawl. And I keep looking at my watch thinking, this should have been a 3-minute. It's like that. It's one of those ones. It's kind of outstays its welcome. So yeah, as a record, it's a peculiar one. It's almost like a what if, because you know that it's the end. Again, you didn't know it at the time, but the great thing about the old 2020 vision and looking back is we know that this is the last record, and we know what happens. And it's kind of you just kind of think it's not particularly good swan song. See what I did there, swan song. It's a bit of a weak record, but it's also indicative of what the future might have been with, like I say, Carousel Amber and In the Evening. You can see them, where they may have headed in their future recording efforts. But yeah, again, I don't know. It's not particularly strong record. But there's bits of it I remember really quite well, which is kind of odd. It's hooky. It's got the hooks, but I think some of it might have needed a little bit more work. The production is interesting too, because like I say, they move away from that kind of analog rock of the 70s, and it's almost like a fairly modern 80s production, which is kind of curious. Well, I thought, again, I'm just talking from my thing. Should we have a look at the record? So imagine it has got a paper bag, but I'm not going to get it out. Imagine, just look, it's a paper bag. Do you know how difficult it is getting it in and out of the wrapper like that? It's difficult, so I just slide the record in. But yeah, so they've done their best to recreate, the thing. I'm not going to get my water and paint it. And then we have the record inside, obviously. Comes in a poly bag. See that? There it is. Right, see? And then we have this. And again, I don't know if you can... this looks like the sort of stuff you can paint with water and go colour, but I'm not going to... I don't know, I'm not going to do it. And it smells kind of funky as well. It smells kind of curious. What do you reckon? Do you reckon if I painted this with water, it would take colour? Maybe it would. It's the Dear John letter that he's reading in the ashtray. So yeah, a lot of visual storytelling there from Hypnosis. Kind of clever. Again, when album covers were works of art in their own field. Yeah. Funny, that. Isn't it funny? Funny what they did. They had budgets and visions, and now we reduce it all down to a little thumbnail on a mobile phone. Oh dear. I remember the good old days. So anyway, that's me talking about. We've only got Coda left, and then that's it. So the Led Zeppelin journey is over for the second time. So yeah, I've been talking about In Through the Outdoor by Led Zeppelin, their final studio album, proper. We've only got Coda to do, and yeah, we'll be back for that. Well, probably straight after this. I don't know. Who knows? Thanks for watching. There's only one more thing to say. By now, we all know what that is, and that is shut up.